Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So, this is kind of a different one today. I just wanted to have a little bit of a discussion because everyone's been talking about it. It's been out for a couple of days now, this news, and I kind of wanted to bring it up. So I'm going to bring this up over here. Hopefully I'll throw it up on screen for you guys. But it was an interview with the Chief Creative Officer at Ubisoft France discussing the future of Ubisoft games, including the next Assassin's Creed. So essentially it was all in French, but they translated it. So I'll just read it through for you guys, and then we can kind of go through and discuss it. I kind of give my thoughts. So they said, Ubisoft is building open worlds that allow players to choose and follow the path they decide. Ubisoft thinks that the player has a long-term goal, but it's up to him or her to find a way to reach it in the big open world they're preparing. The game becomes less important. What interests me is taking worlds that would be interesting to me, even as a tourist. If I make a big game in San Francisco, i.e. Watch Dogs 2, even my mother must be able to have fun. Go boating, helicopter, motorcycle. Then just let the player have fun. He is left with the means to become a private detective, an assassin, a hacker. He has a job in this world, his problems, and it's up to him to become more powerful. There'll be less narrative in future games, because in the past, narrative often slipped as it has in Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. The same reasoning will be applied to cutscenes. My ability to express myself is taken away during this time. I cannot do what I want to do, and I mean I cannot evolve the world. I do not want to be told a story, I want to have tens of thousands of stories. I want that each character is one story, and I can go and question him if I want, without being imposed to do it. For the next Assassin's Creed, game designers are creating a system where the player's actions make sense not only in this moment, but also in the long run. The player's actions then are going to change the world. This revolution will be present in the next Assassin's Creed game, even if, being this franchise with a history and games that may undergo many years of development, they are not going to turn everything upside down. Now, it's a little bit off in places because obviously this was translated from French. It's not going to translate perfectly to English, but parts of this worry me and parts of this are okay. Now, the thing is, the way I thought of it when I first saw it is they're trying to reduce story and narrative in games in general, but specifically Assassin's Creed. And to me, that's wrong, because Assassin's Creed is an extremely story-driven game. The narrative is one of, if not the most important part of the game, and I think a lot of the community agrees with me when I say that we don't want them to remove any narrative aspects from Assassin's Creed. At least, don't remove, the overarching story that all the fans want to return, and don't change it so it's about the world, because Watch Dogs 2, as great as it is in terms of gameplay in the world, the story is extremely dry. It's very lacking and doesn't really leave much there for the player. To me, it's very similar to, so let me give you an example. So Skyrim has a ton of different stories, and it works so well. The thing with Skyrim is you are this player that you've created yourself. You can even create a backstory for yourself if you want to in your own head. Just come up with it. It's a ton of fun. And then you go through this world, you do all these various quests, and, you come out the other end super powerful. And you've done all these different quests, you've created your own little story in this world. And the main story of Skyrim, it's alright, it's good, it's there. It gives you a reason and a purpose to be in the world, but it's nothing special. It's no narrative masterpiece like things like Assassin's Creed 2 or Revelations, right? It's a very mediocre story just to give you a reason that you're in this world. Now, the world and everything is amazing, and being able to create your own story is fantastic, but the thing is with Assassin's Creed is it doesn't really work like that. I don't think, because it seems to me that's what they're going for, is he says, I don't want to have one story, I want to have tens of thousands of stories. And sure, that sounds great in writing, but when you think about it, imagine you get Assassin's Creed 2 and you strip away the main story of Desmond Miles going into the Alps, you strip away Ezio's story, and it's just an open world game where you go around doing various quest lines, and there's no really end goal there, there's no story being told that you're playing through, it's just an open world full of lots of other stories. And that's kind of worrying, because what makes Assassin's Creed good, and I think, like I've said, a lot of people in the community kind of have the same opinion. I think that's why everyone's kind of been going crazy about this, is because it's not what we want, and I think it's strange that they don't understand that. I mean, this was just the dude, the chief officer of Ubisoft France. But, like, it's still strange that they would go with that for Assassin's Creed, especially in terms of, like, your actions determine what happens in the story and in the world. Like, I don't really understand why that's a thing they go for, because it doesn't really make any sense. Like, you're going into the Animus, you're experiencing a story, like, why would your actions affect anything? That doesn't make sense in Assassin's Creed. Like, I don't want to play a game where I'm choosing what happens in Assassin's Creed. That's not why I play. If I want that, I'll play The Witcher, I'll play Mass Effect, I'll play Fallout, Skyrim, you know? I'll play one of those kinds of games. I play Assassin's Creed for a heavy, rich narrative game. I mean, we've lost that recently, but I'm afraid, I talked about this on Kill Chronicle, I'm afraid that, you know, they've jumped from one fuck up to another fuck up. Like, the original, it was just like, you know, now they've kind of lost this modern day story, and instead of gaining it back, they're now moving to, let's just make loads of little stories. It's like, no, that's not what we want. We've said multiple times, and I want to make this very clear for Ubisoft, if anyone's watching, I may be getting this completely wrong, and I'll talk about the other side of this later on that could be a really good side, but I want to talk about this in case, you know, anyone from Ubisoft is watching. If you want to send this to Ubisoft, because this is kind of just like, you know, an open message to Ubisoft, just in case it's the bad idea that we kind of all think it is that what we want as a community, and stripping it down to, like, just the most minimal kind of opinion that I can without getting too personal with exactly what and specifics, I think as a community, literally what we want is investment in a story and character and an overarching narrative. So whether that's in the form of a trilogy with the same character, whether that's in the form of a modern day storyline or something like that, we want it there. The same way it was in the Desmond saga. We had Desmond's story from 1 to 3 that evolved and changed and had this amazing mysterious feel, and it changed as it went along, and it was this beautiful narrative that was told so well. And, you know, that's how that was. And then we obviously had Ezio's story, which was being, you know, it was that story of one character that continued through 3 games, but also linked to the overarching story. And I'm not saying we need both back. Of course, both together would be great, but one or the other, and just what we want is investment. I don't want to have, because it's, even though Watch Dogs 2 is great for the gameplay, it's forgettable because when Watch Dogs 3 comes out, it's not going to tie to Watch Dogs 2. There's no ongoing story there like there is in Assassin's Creed, and Assassin's Creed Special. You know, do that kind of narrative structure with Watch Dogs. Do it maybe with Far Cry, because there is no overarching narrative. Do it with all your other games. But with Assassin's Creed, I don't really think it works, because you can't just take away the narrative and throw in a bunch of other stuff and just switch it up every time, because you've tried it with Unity and with Syndicate and with Rogue and Black Flag, and the only time it worked in the past 5 games, the only success has been Black Flag. Let's be honest. As there may be people that say, you know, oh, I like 3 and I don't like 3, or, you know, oh, Unity's great, but a lot of people don't like Unity. With Black Flag, I'm pretty sure 95% of the community loves Black Flag. There's a small percentage that don't, and I can understand why. You don't like the naval, you don't like the pirates, you don't like the world, the setting. I can understand reasons why. Like, it completely makes sense. It's the same with anything ever. I can understand reasons why you wouldn't like it, because it's not to your preference. But I think 95% of the community loved Black Flag, and I think, you know, that was a great game, but still wasn't great for the same reasons that Assassin's Creed 1 through Revelations were great, and even the modern day of 3. Like, the story, the narrative of 1 through 3 in terms of overarching modern day continuing storyline. And I think that if you're changing it to have lots of mini stories, it's kind of taking that away, and it's making Assassin's Creed not what Assassin's Creed is. And, you know, it's, what I want to try and say, because we talked about the Chronicle Club, is that I think we've talked about this as a community on KCC, and I've talked about this with other people, is that, and loads of people on Twitter, like, people that praise Assassin's Creed for everything, like every little thing, like it can be a tiny little thing, like they love all the extended media, they love all the side content, they love everything Assassin's Creed. If they mess up, it's cool because it's Assassin's Creed. Even people like that are kind of mad at this, and that's kind of where you know you've done something wrong. If the people that love Assassin's Creed, even when it's terrible, think this is bad, then it's probably really bad. And the way it's saying, like, oh, even in cutscenes, there'll be less cutscenes because I can't do what I want in cutscenes. Like, what are you talking about? One of the best games, or the best game that came out this year, is Uncharted 4. And that is completely, there's no open world, that's completely story driven, and it's great because it's a fantastic story, and that's really what makes it great. And the things like why can't you look at what made Assassin's Creed great in the past? What made it where it is now? It's Ezio's story. It's Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood Revelations. That amazing narrative. Sure, it could be restricting to open world and wanting to do your own thing, but that's not what the game is. Like, just look at what made it successful. It was those games, and what they did well was the storyline, and this amazing storyline with Desmond and with Juno in the first Civ and Ezio, and how all tied together so well. Like, just fucking get Darby to write everything and we'll be fine. But it's if you take away cutscenes, so you're just having lots of gameplay, you're just becoming like it's not what it is. Like, I don't understand I don't get what you're going for. I don't want to play a game like that. That's not why I play Assassin's Creed. I'll play other games for that, but don't try and make your entire franchise that. It's weird. It's not what it is. We don't want that as a community. Very few people might, but as a community and as a fan base, so we don't, like, as a fan base that likes Assassin's Creed, we don't want that. We don't want you to take away the narrative. We don't want you to take away the structure. We don't want you to give us the ability to choose what happens. That's not what we want from Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is a written narrative storyline that we are playing through with side content all around us. Give us the side content. Give us the immersion, the interaction with characters. Give us these loads of awesome tens of thousands of stories, but do that as an addition. Don't sacrifice the main story for these extra little things. Add the extra little things on top of a fantastic, rich, in-depth, immersive narrative that we like, that has an overarching story that continues through all of the games and gives us investment in a character, in a story. The modern day needs to have a story. It needs to have a character. It can't just be a world that we're in so we can relive memories. It needs to have a story, a purpose. Characters that have a purpose and a goal and a storyline. Like, that's what we need, and it looks to me like they're trying to strip away all of that to make a bare bones open world, do whatever the fuck you want, create your own story game, which is not what Assassin's Creed should be, and it's not what we want as a community. Now, on the other hand, Tyler said this, and it makes sense in some ways, but a lot of what they're saying doesn't really match up. Now, they could be saying they're trying to remove narrative in terms of mission structure, and that makes sense. So if they're trying to remove narrative in terms of the way you play a mission isn't structured, you do whatever the fuck you want to do the mission, or that sequence, you do whatever the fuck you want. Like, it's not a completely removal of a story. The story's still there, but when you play through missions, there's not a story to the mission. There's an end goal, and you do that the way the player wants. So you craft your way to the end goal, which is the storyline, kind of thing. So it's less restrictive in terms of missions. If that's what they're doing, then I'm completely for that, and I've been talking about that for ages, and that sounds fantastic. And I would be super, okay with that. That sounds really, really good. And if it is that they're trying to do, then that's fantastic, because I think they tried to do it with Unity but couldn't quite pull it off. And if it means less restrictive missions and more player choice when you're doing missions, do it however the hell you want, just complete the end goal, do whatever you want, no hand-holding, no, stupid, little messages where it tells you, points things out for you, just let the player do it yourself. Have the end goal, let the player do it. And if that's what they're doing, then I'm completely for that. All the exploration side activity and your own little story in this open world that you can do yourself, because there's so much awesome stuff that you can just be like, oh, I want to go here, and then you do it. And it's like this huge, awesome storyline. That would be great. But I really don't want to sacrifice the core narrative for, these side things. It's just not, I just don't think it works, and I don't think it works for Assassin's Creed. I think it's very possible it could work for Watch Dogs. For Far Cry would be fantastic, because Far Cry is not so heavily narrative-driven, and I don't think it suits narrative-driven anything. I think it should be open to the player to craft their own story in this awesome world that has its own lore. I think that's really, really cool for Far Cry. I think it's cool for Watch Dogs. But for Assassin's Creed, to me, it just doesn't work, because what made the game so good was the amazing narrative that was in 1 to 3, in terms of modern-day overarching story. And, that's just what I'm saying. That's just what I'm saying, and I think I speak for a lot of the community when I say this, and, hopefully Ubisoft can understand that, and hopefully, it'll all work out in the end, and hopefully maybe this is just a misunderstanding. Maybe we're getting it all wrong, and it's actually going to be good. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this little video, hit the like button. Why not subscribe if you're new? New episode of Ezio Collection coming out today as well, because I'm uploading them all the time. And Jesus Christ, I just hope this all turns out well, because I'm really kind of worried to see where Assassin's Creed goes if they're trying to remove narrative, because that's the main part of the game. Hopefully Ubisoft watches, hopefully they can shed some light on it. I really would love if someone from Ubisoft could maybe make a post on Ubiblog or something, maybe clarifying what this is, because it's kind of sent the community into a bit of a fucking spiral of fucking panicking. But thank you for watching. If Ubisoft is watching, I appreciate you listening, and I would love if you could take my opinions on board. Listen to the rest of the community as well, not just me, of course, because I don't speak for the entire community, but I do think that a majority of the community probably agrees with me. However, of course, not everyone is going to agree with me, but of course, it is probably a large consensus that we do want the story, and I think that's why a lot of people played Assassin's Creed. That's why all the hardcore fans, the hundreds of thousands of hardcore Assassin's Creed fans, not just the casual Assassin's Creed fans, just the hardcore fans, the story is a main point of why we're playing. I just wanted it back on track. I was looking forward to playing the next game and having this awesome, in-depth story and getting to play this experience and hoping it would be back on track, and now I'm slightly worried that it's not going to be that at all. Let's just hope for the best. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
And the wolves kept tumbling down, raining fire from above. Great crowds charge over the hills, but the city's had enough. But if we turn and fight, does it almost feel like we will never fall? And if we unite, we can take this fight straight to the castle wall.